and Zenith Bank was down 4% today. So we're beginning to see a little more pressure, a little more downside momentum, even though over the last 3 days we've seen the market close lower. But are you getting a little worried with the trend we're seeing right now, given the fact that there's really very little market moving info out there now?
Well, I think the reality is that, as with any major market, you expect that as we approach the end of the year, portfolio managers are going to be looking, an institutional manager is going to be looking to rebalance their positions. So I wouldn't be surprised if what we're seeing is a bit of that. We've seen a bit of a sell-off, quite a bit of a sell-off in the rescued banks. My thinking would be that some of the investors who might have taken positions in those stocks might just be selling down and rebalancing their portfolios and just kind of unwinding their speculative plays going forward. So I don't think it's an indication that the market is oversold or overbought or anything. I just think that we're in a situation where people might just be taking positions ahead of what might be a season where we see a lot of surprises in the banking sector in the early part of next year as results come out.
A little bit of the year-end effect, so to speak.
Well, yes,
right.
yes.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the news flow relating to the petroleum marketing sector. There is that news about NNPC into a 2-year deal with several importers, Trafigura and SIM of Cote d'Ivoire. Give us a little bit on that info and the impact you think that will have on the downstream petroleum listed companies.
Well, the details of the deal which we have right now are that the NNPC, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, has gone into a commodity swap agreement with Trafigura of Holland and with SIR, a refining company in Ivory Coast. Now, the terms of the agreement are that with Trafigura, they're going to be giving Trafigura or trading 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day in exchange for about 200,000 tons of refined petroleum products, specifically gasoline and gas oil, every month. Also with SIR of Cote d'Ivoire, they're going to be trading about 30,000 barrels per day of crude oil in exchange for about 100,000 tons of refined petroleum product. The reality is that we think that this might be a situation where the federal government, through the NNPC, is looking to manage its cash cycle. There have been indications that increasingly the government's fiscal position might be a bit tight. So I think it's just a situation where the government might be looking to do something about that and managing its cash better by going into an agreement where they can exchange commodities and don't necessarily have to swap cash for those products at this time.
Is this necessarily good or bad for the listed downstream petroleum marketing companies?
Well, at this time, I don't think there's any short-term effects. The short-term effects might not be as significant. What I would be looking at is more the medium to long-term implications of this agreement. To me, it might be an indication that the NNPC in and of itself is gearing up to become a major player in the petroleum marketing sector moving into next year. The expectation is that the Petroleum Industry Bill, which in effect reforms the NNPC and makes it an independent unit from the federal government, effectively letting the NNPC manage its own cash flows and having to run itself profitably as a business, puts the NNPC in a position where increasingly it has to source for the funds to meet its cash calls with its joint ventures with IOCs and to handle its own sphere of business. So effectively what we have is a situation where the NNPC might be gearing up for potential PIB passage and deregulation. So to me, this is an indication that deregulation might be coming down the stream shortly. Being the largest importer of refined petroleum products as is in Nigeria, the NNPC accounts for almost 50% of refined product that comes into Nigeria. I think it's a significant statement that they're looking to move into this sector, and in the medium to long term, I think there might be pressure from such a large player on some of the larger marketers.